In a world where nearly every kink has crawled out of the shadows and onto your For You page, feet, furries, feeding, you name it, there's still one kink that seems to make even the most sex-positive squirm: menophilia. Despite period sex being old as humanity itself, this messy and bloody turn-on is still hiding in the wings. Today, we're exploring bloodhounds, those who seek out, fetishize, and get off on period blood. We're unpacking this red light district of sexuality by looking at the cultural disgust, the pornography, or lack thereof, and why, of all the things that we've normalized, this one is still lurking in the dark. That's what you're in for today on Impolite Society.
Oh, I just detest rude, unladylike young ladies.
I hope you don't mind me being a tad rude.
I myself am strange and unusual.
Don't be rude.
That is some weird, wild stuff.
Shocking, isn't it?
It's a scandal,
But it's provocative.
Please stop making me blush.
Welcome to Impolite Society. I'm Laura.
And I'm Rachel.
So I came across a term the other day that sparked this episode. I don't even remember where I saw it, but as soon as I did, I was like, this is an episode, and I ran to the research.
I mean, I love that that's just casually we stumble upon new paraphilias and weird sex things. It's not even that we have to seek it out. It finds us. It knows. Classic Laura and Rachel.
It's like that, pair of shoes that you were looking at. It stalks you around the internet, and now
Truly.
weird shit follows us.
That incognito is not as incognito as one would hope.
And we talk about a lot of kinky shit on this podcast. Furries, diaper sex, cuckolding, absolutely everything in between. And my thought, this isn't necessarily mainstream stuff that everyone is doing in their bedrooms. But I have heard of these things.
Oh, yeah.
It exists in some kind of weird, well, will you look at that curiosity? Or like on the internet.
Punchline of a joke.
Yeah. But as far as I know, I don't know, maybe people are into it, and that's why these fetishes are just in the collective consciousness of the internet world. I'm not sure. But either way, the fetish world, it is out of the closet. People are trying to break taboos around all kinds of sex shit. I listened to a podcast once that tried to normalize bestiality. It made my blood fucking boil. You know, Rachel, I texted you incessantly about it. And of all the stuff that we could be bringing out into the light of day, bestiality was not one of the ones that I want to accept. Nuh-uh. No, thank you.
So, listener, if you're curious where we land in the world, right? A dichotomy, the scale of what is okay. So we're very pro furries, but very negative people actually having sex with animals. Line in the sand. Animals dressed as people? That's another story. I mean, not animals dressed as people. I mean, people
skinnies.
dressed
That's what those are called,
animals.
skinnies.
No, I meant people dressed as animals. That is okay. Yiff away is what we say to that.
But like the furries, there are other things that I would like to see mainstream. One of those things is bloodhounds.
I'm a hound dog. Ooh. I don't know. I felt like I had to insert that. I feel like that's from The Fox and the Hound. But let's ruin more beloved children's movies by linking it to a lesser known kink. But no, seriously, I have no idea what that is. I have not heard of that term. And after doing this for 5 years, I've considered myself to, have been around the block when it comes to learning about things. So I'm surprised I have not heard that before.
So a bloodhound, as they're calling it these days, there's a couple of different kind of names for it, is someone who really likes period sex.
No, okay, that makes a ton of sense. Continue.
But they want it a lot. And more so than your everyday menstruating intercourse. Because I think anyone who has been in a long-term straight relationship has inevitably put down a towel and just let what was going to happen happen.
Period sex, lay down a towel. That's a joke from one of the shows I really like, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
I was going to say, I thought that was hers.
Yes, where she sings all these off-color songs, like the sexy getting ready song, where it's just about all the gross things women have to do to look good. But this was like a joke song throughout the whole series. They're like, oh, we're going to sing about period sex. And it just like is only that little bit, and it just comes up throughout the whole series. And that's playing on my head on repeat.
Says reading these notes.
Yes. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Check it out. I think it's on Netflix. I don't know.
But yeah, period sex, it's a rite of passage for a relationship. And then, of course, there's the next rite of passage in a relationship where you're old and you're tired and sex isn't even worth ruining a ratty towel.
We wouldn't know anything about that. Nope, no idea.
Okay.
I said we, you and I. We don't know. That's just off the cuff.
So today, though, I'm talking about having a fetish for period sex, seeking it out, hounding for it, hence Bloodhounds. But it can go beyond the act itself of period sex and include arousal or fascination with menstrual blood, menstrual products, the entire menstruation experience, if you will.
And that honestly makes my skin crawl. I have no good reason for why. That just shows the hold that Pliny the Younger still has on me.
I thought it was Pliny the Elder.
It's one of the two. There's no Pliny the Middle.
Yeah. So pretty much everything that you could think to do with the period excretions and the relating accessories. So this fetish can be as mild as looking forward to your lady's time of the month and just going hog wild, or it can get really weird, like saving and drinking period blood, masturbating with used pads, or putting used tampons in your butt.
Okay, wow. So that is truly shocking, and I don't feel like I get shocked very much on the show anymore.
I
does
saw it on Reddit.
You saw people doing these
acts? No.
Oh.
I didn't see people do that. I heard it. I saw it in the
no.
comments. I saw
There's no
people in the
cost.
comments.
Was that something that they would say, or something that actually they did, or something they were just saying they wanted to do? Because
I don't know, but
like,
either
with
way,
some of the cooking stuff, I was like, "This is fiction." Like this is.
Yeah.
They said that they did this, but clearly it's fiction.
Yeah, I mean, very possibly.
It's fantasy. Fantasy and reality lines are blurred online. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of online.
That's fair.
But no, I believe they're doing it, and it is shocking. Or at least they have the desire to, which is also shocking.
Yeah. And so this runs the gamut, and it's like a lot of kinky things, I think. One doesn't have to be wearing a cock and ball cage 24/7 to be into BDSM. It can be a facet of your sexuality. So you can be into period blood as a turn on, but it doesn't have to go balls to the wall and putting a bloody tampon in your ass.
Right. It's not just because you like something or something excites you, it doesn't mean it's the only thing.
Exactly.
Like, plenty of people who are into kink have vanilla sex.
But really, when I was thinking about this and all the sex shit that this culture is dragging into being normalized, why is having a thing for period blood so weird that I had never heard of it? I have a taboo podcast. It's completely unacceptable.
Well, you wouldn't want to get your eely weely dicky to wilt like so many flowers that were like so many flowers touched by Menses in Pliny's science garden, right? No,
Throw back
deep
to our
cut.
period episode.
Yeah, that one dig up. That one definitely is a Impolite Society episode, not a big talk episode. I think that really goes to show how deeply we are repulsed by periods.
Yeah.
Like, it's so gross that we can't even co-opt it to being sexy. Like, it can't
Unlike
make the
so
jump
many other things.
that we'll get into, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so I'm going to rant about how novel this fetish is for a while. But before I go on, I would like to give you some of the period sex euphemisms that I found in my research that are endlessly entertaining.
And I will rate them with minimal context.
Let's do it. Red Wings.
Sports reference on activities that centers us queens. 2 out of 10.
Next one. Riding the red wave.
5 out of 10. Communism. I'm not going to say if it's good or bad. I'm just going to say communism. It factored in.
Painting the sheets.
6 out of 10. Actually, I'm going to change that. 7 out of 10. I think that one's clever. I like that one.
I like that one too. Having a jam session.
2 out of 10. Oh, I think I'm actually getting it now, and that's actually horrifying, and I'm going to leave it at 2 out of 10.
See, I'm going to rate it higher because I think it is a little horrifying. I'm going to give this one a higher rating. I'm not rating him, but I think it should be higher than that. Shark Week shenanigans.
9 out of 10. Live every week like it's Shark Week.
Checking into the Red Roof Inn.
4 out of 10.
Taking Aunt Flo to Pound Town.
1 out of 10. Boring. Come on.
Sailing the Red Sea.
5 out of 10. You know, depends on the flow strength.
Playing Dracula in the bedroom.
I give it a 7 out of 10 if you put Edward Cullen in it.
And Red Wedding Night.
Solid 8 out of 10. Never forget. Always remember.
I really like this. Okay, I'm done with wordplay. Back to the actual research and the actual taboo. So, like we mentioned, we did have an episode about the period taboo a long time ago. It's been a really long time since I listened to that episode. I think it was pretty good. I remember laughing a lot, at least.
It was really good.
Yeah, so I'm not going to rehash all that research about why periods, which is a perfectly normal thing to happen, is a cultural taboo. It just is. Like, as far back as any historian can tell, it goes to ancient Greece, the Bible, the Torah, fucking Freud. It's just, nobody likes it. Everyone hates period blood. Or periods, period.
Period. If I do recall, I think we spent a lot of time musing on why we found periods so upsetting. And I can save you a lot of time if you're dying to know the answer to that. The conclusion was no conclusion. Impossible to tell. We have theories, but no definitive answers.
I mean, that's how most of our episodes
That's why we wrote that out because like we're not going to come to any answer. Who are we? You know?
Yeah. And my theory about the period taboo, it's because no matter what its actual chemical compilation is, it's blood, right? It's made out of different stuff than regular blood, but it's blood. And people really hate blood. Some people, they faint at the sight of it, which, I mean, grow the fuck up, right? I'm sorry if you're one of those people. I judge you if you feel lightheaded from a little blood. You know, sorry, not sorry. This is life. Anyway.
I feel like if I saw blood gushing, I might have a problem.
Well, yeah, you kind of freak out because you're like, oh, God, I have to do something about it. But like a little bit of blood? Anyway. But that's the simple reason, in my eyes, why periods are taboo and why people who are sexually aroused by menstrual blood have not gone mainstream like BDSM, spanking, cuckolding, you name it.
Right. And that is a really good kind of thing to mention because sex is pretty violent these days. Mm-hmm. And that's not just me saying that as like a pearl clutching 30-year-old wilted flower or whatever. Got Mincy's blood on it. No, that was actually in the research from our choking episode where like the idea of what rough sex is like going down, right? You know, the threshold for it to be rough is going up. One of the way people are engaging in more rough sex stuff. We'll hit, choke, cage our partners, but apparently we draw the line at blood. And that's an interesting distinction and might factor into, as you were saying, a reason behind our bigger aversion to menses in general.
And what I find so weird about this fetish being so underground is that it seems kind of obvious. Like, it should be pretty typical that you'd hear about it on the internet or in our media. I mean, thinking about all the vampire content we had in the early 2000s.
Oh, it had a moment.
Yeah.
It was
like,
the moment.
All the Twilight, all the Vampire Diaries, fucking True Blood, the trashiest TV vampire show to ever appear on the silver screen, never even mentions it. I checked because I thought about it. I was in the shower and I was like, what are all these different vampire TV shows? I'm like, what's the trash? And I'm like, True Blood. If anybody would have mentioned it, it would have been True Blood. I looked it up. They did not.
But we were all thinking it. I remember so many jokes about Bella Swan, time of the month, and Edward losing his fucking mind. And that is probably because all the fans were women, but everything, all the movies, the shows, not Twilight. We know that was written by a Mormon. But the rest of the stuff was written by the other
Mormon?
big
I didn't
M,
know that.
men, right? And they are either A, too grossed out, or too afraid, or B, too afraid of our divine feminine to include that kind of stuff in the content.
And speaking of content, I find it even more puzzling that menstruation, which is a process that occurs very often during young performers' on-camera years, it is invisible in pornography. These are young, fertile women. They are menstruating, but you never see it in any kind of video that I've ever seen anyway. And I looked up a article that was like all the different products that they use in order to,
well, I was gonna wonder about that. Are they just taking the pill that makes them skip?
No, Diva cups or sponges. The Diva cup could really get messy. Yeah,
how do they have room for that and the massive cock? That's the question.
It boggles the mind, right?
They can't just take a week off? I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't want to. I don't want to take a week off from my prime earning years. You know what I mean?
I'd be sitting in the mikveh the whole time. Bye. Talk to my agent.
But in fact, this fetish is so underground that an article I read said that urine and feces fetishes are better represented in pornography than periods. Even necrophilia got more airtime. That is fucking insane.
It literally boggles the mind. It is horrible. So why is being covered in urine and shit, or like even consuming them, that is degrading in the hot kind of way. But period blood, which we're all super, super uncomfy about, isn't? The humans are so fucking weird. They're so weird. What makes that the good kind of degrading, but swimming in the Red Sea is just not a no-go?
I don't know. But to be fair, I could not verify that claim anywhere. Like I saw it in a blog post that it did seem like a very well researched post, to be fair. Like it had links and like different kind of stuff, but I could not verify it.
Well, I've never seen two girls, one diva cup, so there.
Exactly. Thank you. Because I couldn't verify it because truly nobody studies menophilia. So take that with a grain of salt. But I believe it based on my everyday lived experience. Like we've mentioned, people joke about being peed on, 2 girls, 1 cup, but no one talks or jokes about getting their little barren a little bloody.
What I had written here was Rachel Bloom does. the writer for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, period sex. But in a Freudian slip, I typed Rachel Blood does. So I just thought that was better than the note. Rachel
but seriously,
Blood.
there
That
are
alter ego. I'm going to send that to her. That's going to be a good skit.
Rachel Blood. But there are no academic studies in any of our normal research haunts that we check into on menophilia, which is the sexual attraction to menstruation. The closest thing that I could find was a 2007 study that analyzed internet discussion groups and found that 9% of all fetish discussion groups revolved around bodily fluids. But that 9% would include urine, scat, mucus, and menstrual fetishes. So it's safe to say that the number of people who participate in this are low. A fraction of a fraction of a fraction of these bodily fluids people. Oh, but they definitely exist because I did indeed find their Reddit.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Hang on to your diva cups, ladies. This is about to get wild.
I'm not going to link it in the show notes. It's pretty much exactly what you'd expect it to be. It's porn. And
is it our Bloodhounds? Sorry, I guess that's the same as linking
it. my time of the month. MOMTOTM.
Okay.
Because it got banned and then came back.
Classic.
Yeah.
Shenanigans.
But it's porn. A bunch of people commenting, "Ooh, yeah, baby, I love it. Stick that bloody tampon in my ass." You know, that kind of thing. But it is active. There are multiple posts, multiple comments across the board. Women post their photos. They're trying to hook guys into paying for more than the first glance, right? And the first hit is free. But they're also using it as a jumping off point to sell their period items. So that's used tampons, pads, and very stained underwear.
You gotta respect the hustle. I mean, you're producing it for free, isn't? I mean, there's no government provided tampons. You gotta pay for those bitches. So if you can recoup that money and then some,
yeah,
I respect it.
For the small fee of having your vulva plastered all over the internet, I guess. I don't know.
I wonder what mailing that's like. The actual logistics. Like you go to the post office and you got your box full of bloody
You have
tamps.
to claim it as biohazard. Ugh.
You have to. Poor mail. Oh my God. Imagine it's August. You're a mail carrier. Carrying? Oh.
Maybe you pack it in dry ice.
I'd hope so. Or a Ziploc at the very least.
Fucking dead person smell. Anyway, okay. So after learning that there was a market for this, my first thought for used tampons, used pads, was that can't they save some money by just sneaking into public toilets? Like pretend you're a janitor, right?
Laura!
Empty that little trash can. I'm cheap, okay? I'm a cheap person. That's immediately what I thought of. Was like, I feel like you could do this for free. Turns out, yep. There are indeed some guys that were posting about raiding women's bathrooms, or even worse, their female friends' trash cans.
No.
And taking their used tampons and pads for later whack-off material. And immediately I was like, that
Friends
feels like
is
some
worse
kind
than
of
strangers.
sexual. So, exactly. That's like somebody that you know. That seems like sexual assault, some sort of like gateway crime or something. I don't even know. I felt deeply disturbed by that more than anything else that we mentioned here.
That is bad. That's bad. And it, to me, it recalls the conversation around necrophilia, right? Is it a horrible violation of a person's personhood, or is it a victimless crime, right? Especially if you get it from the trash at the public.
Yeah, they
restroom,
discarded
they have no
it.
idea. Yeah, there's
It's like
no
the
way
police. They
for
can
them-
take your DNA from a cup that you threw away.
Right. The cops should be digging through the cans at the restrooms trying to get the DNA off that.
But to be fair, that's some deep cut stuff. These are people who would really go to extremes to get their jollies off. Those are the balls to the wall types, and they clearly have some overlapping fetish with soiled items. You know, people who like use panties and different kind of stuff. So like that, you know, everything's complicated. It's like a very complicated Venn diagram. But that's not your normal everyday flow liquor. But I included it just to give you a range of how far some of these kinks can go.
And I will say, though, before we go on, the more power to them. In an age where the cost of a cheap orgasm is just tapping your phone, the fact that these fellas are getting dressed, going outside, getting some light cardio as they run away with their dirty, dirty haul, that all sounds like a net positive when the alternative is jacking it in the dark of your room and never feeling the warmth of the sun or another human.
I doubt it's still warm after so long of such a journey. I don't think the tampon is
Well,
still
I'm
warm,
sure they
but-
made eye contact with somebody who smiled at them in their journey out there. A polite smile. And they're like, oh, the warmth
the
of
closed
humanity.
mouth kind. Mm.
The little white person nod.
Yep.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Yep. White people go down. So there's not, I mean, it could be worse.
Yeah.
They worked for it, at least.
They worked for it. It's kind of like, you know, we talk about the old days about how you had to really find your people back in the day. Like there wasn't just an online forum you could hop onto. You had to really seek it out. You do kind of respect it a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah,
these
so
guys
easy nowadays.
They put down Reddit and they made their dreams come true.
It's kind of, this is really, you know what, I'm not even going to say it. Never mind.
I want to know. Now I want to know.
I was going to say, it's like that guy, that QAnon guy who like went to that pizza place with armed to the teeth trying to like thinking he was going to free those children. I was like, obviously that's a fucking dumbass thing to do. But kudos to you, because if you really thought there were children in cages in that pizza place, you were going to go and
Rambo
set
them
free.
out of there. Like,
Yes.
yeah, he took action.
He took action. And
I think
respect
everybody
that.
else doesn't really believe it, or they're horrible
Exactly.
people.
Exactly. Bingo. There you go.
He was the one true believer.
And he put his money where his mouth is.
Good for him.
Just like these guys.
As long as you're right. Right.
So even though we don't have academic studies on the who, what, where, why of menophilia, but based on the demographic of the vulvas that I saw on the subreddit, this is definitely white people shit. We do have some personal accounts of what these men like about period sex. My first thought was that this fetish would probably fall into the BDSM category along with hematolignia, a sexual fetish for blood. And it can, but not necessarily. Blood play in the BDSM world seems to have a lot of focus on drawing blood, and that implies violence, which I'm pretty sure is kind of the point with BDSM.
Yeah, I kind of file that into the categories of things that shouldn't see the light of day. Like, I was going to talk about that earlier, and I was like, no, I don't want to give it any kind of attention, like the bestiality thing, where it's like, just giving it a platform makes it more valid because you're letting people talk about it. You're giving it a platform. Yeah.
Yeah. Be ashamed.
Yes.
But in this case, blood does not have to mean violence.
No,
Period
it doesn't.
Sex. Yeah. No person was harmed in the making of this
the
sweet,
egg.
sweet love, baby.
You know, the half a person.
The what? Oh, the egg. I mean, it was going to happen anyway, right? So before we lump these bloodhounds in with the people who want to make others bleed, let's take a look at the reasons a man might enjoy diving into the Red Sea. First of all, taboo. Nothing turns humans on like a big old dollop of shame. We've covered this many, many times before. People absolutely revel doing in something that they are not supposed to. Every culture on earth thinks that periods are gross. Therefore, if I'm really into periods, ooh, I'm naughty.
Naughty.
And like a woman in a Catholic schoolgirl uniform, everyone likes feeling a little naughty in bed, right?
Because of this reason, I'm honestly surprised this isn't more common.
Totally.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. People are sleeping on this.
Absolutely. I mean,
it's
it comes out of a vagina already. Like, it's not like pee or piss or shit that comes out of different holes. Like, it's already in the vagina.
It's in the
seems
sex
so
hole.
rife. It's in the sex hole. It seems so rife for easy fetishes. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for validating me. Okay, next reasons. Kind of a feeling of a primal encounter. Many of the people who talked about this, they said that period sex and period blood felt primal. Like you were both so turned on that ruining sheets didn't even bother you. And I can see that feels very uncivilized, right?
So yeah, in the moment, you're like, whatever, throw the sheets out.
Whatever. And that's sexy. And men also stated that the musk was their favorite part of period play. And I'll definitely give that to them because musk isn't a word that I generally want associated with my bedroom activity. That feels very Animal Planet to me. And I guess I can see how that can be attractive.
These men, they crave the iron mines. Get these men to the mines. They want the iron. They want the smell. They'll just be digging, going crazy, digging and creaming all over the place.
I mean, everyone wants a little connection to the wolf roots, I guess, or the old iron mine roots.
Right,
you know,
'cause
who's to say? Next reason was the uncensored female body, and this is my favorite one because it turns a lot of things about periods on its head. So, women have been socialized to hide their periods, any period-related products, hiding their womanhood, their divinity, right? But
hell yeah.
But for some period lovers, they delight in that secret and experiencing all of a woman, even the parts that she's supposed to keep hidden. So in a weird way, it's almost like a macho thing. They take pride in liking it. So one article that I read, it compared it to that barbecue foodie who's been like, oh yeah, I'm really into meat, I'm really into animals, and and then he's like, oh, I really like the offal, or oh, I really like the liver and the kidneys and the sweetbreads. They feel like they're this true connoisseur. And in this case, they would be the true connoisseur of the female body. And I was like, okay, I like that. I dig that.
Okay. So, like, I take pride in choking down nasty black coffee every day.
Yes.
Because I'm a real cowboy, baby.
Fighting fire and chewing glass.
Yeah, and not taking in any calories before noon.
So I think there's also something in here about the feminine mystery of a period as well. Menstruation is a body process that is pretty much completely unknown to the males of the world. I read an article where somebody said that they thought period stuff literally was blue because of the
they thought menstrual blood was blue
because of the commercials where they're always pouring blue liquid onto pads. Right?
Okay, they thought that women were like bleeding like a unicorn, like in the Harry Potter universe.
Apparently.
Maybe that's where J.K. Rowling got it from.
I mean, preteen girls, they are absolutely struck dead with embarrassment if a guy even sees a tampon in her purse. So I could see how that kind of makes it this secret, maybe sexy thing. You know, it's definitely secret, and secrets can be sexy, right?
Right.
But again, in the obviousness of it, like some preteen boy saw a tampon in the garbage and he's in peak puberty, right? And it just gets cemented into his brain. This was in a woman's vagina. Oh my God. It's the sexiest thing I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah. And
it really seems like it's just makes so much sense.
It does make so much sense. I will say, yeah, the secret, the taboo, why isn't this a bigger thing?
I know.
But I also, as a young lad seeing something that was in an intimate area of a woman and then getting turned on, like, I get that. But it's also really funny how it does not work the other way at all. Like, if a girl saw something that was on a male's genitals, they'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, no woman sees like a jock strap. You know,
yeah,
it was like, ooh,
water.
I don't know. Maybe they do nowadays. I don't know. People feel like things are topsy turvy. Whereas a guy would be like, oh my God, a bra that was on your boobs.
Touch boobs. It's like I'm touched boobs.
Exactly.
But yeah, I would not. No, especially if it's just like a random man. Bleh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bleh.
Bleh.
Again, but this is because we're demisexuals. This is our new identity.
Oh
right?
yeah. My sister gave me a book on asexuals, so I'm going to read it so I can continue my education. I said, Emily, why are you sleeping on this book? I should have had it before we did the episode.
So if this is how men feel about period sex, what about the women? Well, this is primarily a straight male fetish. So we don't have much from a female bloodhound point of view. I'm sure they exist, right?
It would be a really weird gay male fetish.
No, I mean like lesbians, right? That really like
yeah.
their ladies' time of the month. But
when the mystery's gone, it's not sexy at all.
I think that's exactly what it is. I'm sure it exists somewhere, but you know, very even smaller of a smaller fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. But as the donor in this equation, results may vary. Some women really like it, depending on the person, of course. A woman can experience a heightened sex drive on their periods, kind of feel more sensitive everywhere, so that can be a plus. And I also read that sex during your period can help with cramps. So, I mean, who needs Advil when you got this bloodhound in your bed?
You know, I've heard that. I don't know where I've heard that. I definitely didn't read it in an academic study, but I've heard it.
So, experiences may vary. That's all I'll say about that. I can imagine that it will also be a little bit of a relief to be with a guy who embraces your femininity, right? Even these parts that you aren't so keen on. And immediately that I thought of this, it was, okay, if you have a guy that doesn't mind or even enjoys your period blood, he's probably not super nervous or like hung up on that roll above your pubis, you know, or like how your arms jiggle in certain lights.
Or if
like
you shaved or not, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like you would feel a little bit more accepted.
Yeah,
less
you let your
judged.
guard down, right?
Yeah.
You could relax a little bit. No, that actually makes a lot of sense because, like, what a weird world we live in where your partner is just repulsed by your body. Like,
For 1 week out of the month.
yeah, for a quarter of the time, they're
Yeah.
just like, ugh. And that, I could see where having a partner who's, like, enthusiastically into you during that time as well as the rest of the time, that would really build intimacy, right? And make you feel
Yes.
safe and loved.
Yeah, I think absolutely. Intimacy was definitely one of the things that had been listed in terms of what people liked about it, male and female, and I couldn't quite find a spot for it. So I'm glad that you mentioned it.
Well, okay, and here's my wild take before we start getting to the wrap up of the episode. Maybe the reason it hasn't caught on as a kink or in the more like fetish side, well, it is a fetish, but why is this fetish not more popular? Maybe because there's nothing about it that's actually degrading to the women.
Ugh,
Sorry.
that's so depressing.
Yeah, because it's actually like really empowering because it makes women feel loved and like sexy.
But isn't kind of cuckolding kind of also in that same thing?
Yeah.
Because that's what I was thinking. Because like cuckolding is another fetish thing that I was like, okay, this is actually not super degrading to women, so I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, it's fine. Do whatever you want to do. I'm okay with
Oh
whatever
yeah. I'm just talking like, I mean, for like, I'm just like, for me, like I'm not gonna go, you know what I mean?
Okay, Austin, get out there, or whatever. I forgot how it works.
Yeah, I know
apparently.
you.
I'm gonna get out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there. It's not like I'm gonna do it, but I was like, no, okay, I could see, somebody could talk me into it. Do you know what I mean? I guess
If I
like
got a
of
free
all
dinner,
the things,
hell yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
The benchmark.
Somebody could talk me into it. But yeah, another thing that I saw, not in any kind of academic or source based, was that another reason why maybe it hasn't caught on as a fetish because it is very common in relationships, like regular relationships. Like it's something that is, like we said, it's a phase in a relationship of like, yeah, I mean, it happens sometimes, you know? You're both
Right.
horny or one of you is horny and it just happens.
Like
you know?
no
And it's
vanilla
okay.
person is gonna just be like, well, I'm actually just gonna have to pee on you tonight because it's my peeing time of the month.
Precisely.
So the fact that it
Exactly.
is accessible is what kind of takes the sexiness out of it.
Yes. But, you know, then there's people who take it to the extreme. You know.
Yeah,
the stuff
stealing
we talked about.
tampons. That's
Yes.
that is not something that happens to most people.
But this is not all sunshine and blood red roses. There are some women who are freaked out about it, period. The Cut and the Telegraph both did articles on the topic. They were interviewing women who have had this request in bed. The responses seemed overwhelmingly negative. And these women, they were freaked out by the request and even more so about the aftermath. And I get it. I guess things can get messy depending on your flow that day. Seeing your partner covered from mouth to thigh in your blood can definitely be a visual image that can be hard to shake. And this wasn't the kind of thing of like, oh, you know, I was just on my period, so like we went for it. It was like, no, he wanted it. You know what I mean? Like he was like,
He was into the idea of being in the blood.
and he was diving into it face first. You know?
Yeah.
So some people were freaked out about that.
And to that, I just say they need to unlearn the stigma, man. We're all just apes floating on a rock, man. Who cares if your partner wants to go full Diane Ladd and Wild at Heart? You know, just let them get covered in the red, man. It's great.
I don't even know that reference. But the most obvious reason that women and men like it, it's a slip and slide, baby. Wetter is better. Why the fuck not use the world's most natural lubricant in a time where it's very plentiful?
That's why I sell a pint to my neighborhood mechanic every now and then. Blood. Nature's lubricant.
Period blood. Nature's lubricant.
I know. I was like, I wrote that. I'm like, oh, people are think I'm donating a pint of period blood. No, I just like stick a needle in. It's a mechanic. Every time he greases my wheels or whatever the fuck it's called, I don't know, he does it. A mechanic. He just uses blood.
You know, might not be the same, but I get your point.
I thought it was funny that you said nature's most natural.
I mean, sexual lubricant. Most natural sexual lubricant.
I think that would just be vaginal mucus, right?
Yeah. Okay, fair. Whatever.
Sorry.
Stop criticizing me.
It's not a criticism. It's just logic.
I mean,
sorry.
Ooh,
Just kidding.
burn.
I didn't mean it. I didn't think of a word fast enough.
You're fine. So, in my eyes, when I look at all this, sex is gross. We got
Hell
mucus,
yeah.
We got mucous membranes, swapping spit, swapping sweat, organs, excreting fluid. It's nasty, even when it's, quote, normal.
There's a very popular, okay, this is probably not popular, and this is just my For You page, but I keep seeing this video with the song, you know, TikTok song, and one of the lyrics that they say is blow bubbles with sperm. That's disgusting.
Ugh.
It's nasty. And that people are like cheering on the creator
Blow
using
bubbles
the sound.
with sperm. Yeah. So why not throw some fucking menstrual blood in there? It's supposed to be there in that time of the month. And it might be weird for a lot of people, male and female, but of all the fetishes that you and I have seen cross our computer screens, this is the one that gets the most of a pass. Like I said, I could be talked into it very easily. There's no inherent misogyny here.
Right.
And for that gets my stamp of approval. And let's be real, we probably all need to wash our sheets more often. So why not take Aunt Flo to Pound Town?
You know, she doesn't get out much, guys. You know, she loves when you come to visit. Might as well go.
I love it when you bring me a visit. Oh, I just love when you come to visit me.
And take her out to the Olive Garden. Unlimited soup and salad.
Aunt Flo loves that shit.
She does. Call your aunts.
That's it for today's episode, ladies and gents. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to tell a friend. That's how these little indie podcasts like ours grow. Leave a review, leave a comment. That super helps too.
Definitely. And if you have any topics you want us to cover, we will be covering topics or questions or ideas that are left in a 5-star rating or review, and we'll be bumping them to the top of the list. So if you give us a really cool taboo, but you only give us 4 stars, we ain't doing it. We need the 5 stars. And guess what? You're going to hear about it in like 2 weeks. We will expedite that shit.
Bring it to the top of the list.
Exactly.
And if you really enjoyed our content, check out the new link that we have in the episode descriptions where you can send us a few bucks for all the free entertainment we've given you over the years, you ungrateful little ingrates. Sorry. No, I don't mean that.
Stay here. We love you. Don't leave us.
Don't leave. But your support, it helps us cover the cost of creating the show, the cost for the editing software that we use, the hosting, all that kind of stuff, where it's all out of pocket for us. You're also supporting independent podcasters. So by doing this, you're not just helping keep Impolite Society going. You're also helping keeping podcast weird, bold, and independent.
And if we will expedite your question for a 5-star review, just imagine what we'll do for a couple bucks. Like, we're whores at the end of the day. You want some of Laura's tampons?
Oh, they got
Find
a lot
out
of
how
musk.
much that costs.
Let me tell you, they got a lot of musk. Enjoy. I would totally do that. I don't know if that makes me disgusting or not. I will not post pictures of my vulva anywhere for any amount of money. That's not fair. Not any amount of money. But, I mean, it would be a ridiculous amount of money.
Like, you would never have to work again. Never need to work again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I will drop a tampon in a Ziploc bag and put it in the mail for very
Girl,
little money.
you are going to regret saying that.
I doubt it. We're not that popular.
I don't
right.
know. The people who do find us, they might be into
just
that.
wait. It's coming around in 2 weeks, people. You better get your orders in.
There's a finite supply. This always sells out on TikTok Shop. Oh, God.
Live.
So, yeah, send us. Ew, no. I don't want to be there for that. So send us a couple bucks, or, you know, if you can't swing that, we understand. Maybe send us a couple of new listeners, guys.
Yeah.
It's one or the other, because that's what we need to keep
Tit for tat.
going. That's what we need. But really, yeah, we'd much rather more people hear us than get some dollars. The dollars would just go towards trying to get more people to hear us.
Yeah,
So,
really.
cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
Send us to your friend. And so until then, may your stolen tampons and pads be soggy with musky period blood.
And lots of clots.
Some jam, raspberry
Yeah, jam session.
jam. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. And until then, stay weird, you motherfuckers. And keep marching to the beat of your own drum.
Oh, I love it how uncomfortable this is all making.
And they are either A, too grossed out, or too afraid, or A, grossed out, or two, B, I'll get there. B,